Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Talk at the Cross here on my YouTube channel, The Christian Assassin Gaming. Don't forget that this channel is sponsored in part by Freshen Up Energy. Use code ASSASSIN1138 at checkout at freshenUphydration.com to get 10% off your entire order. Today is going to be a fun episode for me today because we're talking about something that I 100% love to play and do. We're talking about the relationship between fantasy and Christianity, and there are a lot of Christians, especially on TikTok and on YouTube, who will completely denounce any type of fantasy, whether it's like Harry Potter, Dungeons and Dragons, saying that it's demonic. And I have with me today someone who's been on here before. It was on a different platform. It was back when it was a radio show rather than podcast form as it is now. So please join me in welcoming the bearded bard, or Josh Alspa. How you doing today?
Doing good, my friend. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. So to start out, because most of the viewers are newer viewers because of YouTube, go ahead and tell us just a little bit about yourself to get us started.
You bet. Hey guys, my name is Josh. I go by the Bearded Bard online. I'm a huge D&D nerd, been playing for years. Big fantasy proponent in my life. I like reading fantasy. I like writing about fantasy. I like doing all sorts of stuff. Matter of fact, in like 2 weeks, I'm going to a Renaissance fair, and I'm going to be a wandering trader dressed up and everything. It's going to be awesome. But I am also, historically, I was a pastor. I went to school for music ministry with a minor in youth ministry. I have served in several churches, starting from when I was very young. My dad is a pastor as well. I have a really, really deep background with the church and a deep background with fantasy as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, first and foremost, for any Christian, God has to be like number one, point blank, period. That is like nobody should be disputing that fact, whether you're on one side of this camp or the other. Like, your relationship with God is number one.
Has to be.
So then that brings the question, because I know we have a lot of people, specifically within the charismatic camp of Christianity, where they're like, oh, anything that is not of God or that is not is spoken of the Bible, it is demonic. It is like the spirit of whatever. Like, how do you usually respond when people say things like that?
I ask them, do you partake in TV? Do you partake in music? Do you partake in books other than the Bible? Or religious theological things? If you do, then by your own arguments, you are wrong. There's nothing wrong with understanding that something we enjoy is fake, but enjoyable. There's nothing real about D&D. It's a game at its very, very base. And like fantasy, that it's fantasy. Like in the name, we know it's fantastical. It's not something that we're going, okay, this isn't actually a real thing that we're diving into. It's pretend. It's just for the fun of it. Jesus himself told stories that were pretend. They're called parables. Even Jesus was against things that weren't quote unquote actual truth.
Mm-hmm.
Like he made up a bunch of those parables. And now, did anyone go, oh my gosh, Jesus was telling stories and that they weren't true? Oh no, we have such a problem. No, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's okay.
And I'm also willing to bet. Sorry.
Oh no, storytelling has been a part of the human tradition from the very beginning, I would think. It almost has to be. That's how oral tradition started, and then it got passed all the way down into written tradition, and then, from there it just continued. We can enjoy fantasy without having to think it's real or having a problem with it.
Right. And I'm willing to bet that between 50 to 80% of those people in the charismatic camp who are, say, like, this is demonic and everything like that, every single one of them absolutely loves the Chronicles of Narnia or the Lord of the Rings, both of which are historically Christian novels.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy to
I,
me.
I just think like if I could ever travel back in time, I would love to sit down with Tolkien and with C.S. Lewis, like just hang out with them, the two of them. I would love to sit down and hear the banter back and forth. Well,
Mm-hmm.
in my book, a lion sang the world into existence, and he's like, "What? What are you talking about? In your book, elves sing and stuff." He goes, "Well, yeah, but a lion didn't sing the world into existence in my book." And I can just imagine them going back and forth with it.
Well, and actually, there's another friend of mine who actually did an episode of this podcast with. He
Mm-hmm.
a lot of his content that he's done on TikTok, on Instagram, and stuff like that. He does that. He does exactly that, fantasizing the banter between C.S. Lewis and Tolkien. I'll have to send you his profile because he hasn't shown up on mine on my For You page or anything like that in a long time. I think it was
What's his name?
JW Beeswing was his old handle.
Man, I used to watch a guy that did that, and he completely left TikTok for YouTube.
Maybe he did that. I'm not entirely sure. I might have to. It's been.
Did he do clown content as well?
Yes. Yes, he
Yep.
did.
Okay, we were mutuals. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I miss seeing his stuff. It was so much fun.
Yeah, yeah. Especially his Tolkien stuff. His Tolkien stuff was absolutely hilarious.
Yes, very much so.
Um, but yeah, another, would be a really, really fun bit of content to do would be like to role play a Dungeons and Dragons game
Oh,
with C.S. Lewis and Tolkien as two of the
oh
players.
my gosh, that would
Tolkien
be
would absolutely choose a halfling, and then Lewis would probably, if I had to guess, he'd either choose paladin or druid.
mm. I could also see him being like a warlock with Aslan as his patron.
Yes, yes, that would be amazing. Great. Now we're.
Mm-hmm.
This is what happens when you do podcasts with content creators is you come up with content creation ideas. um, but yeah, so it to get back to the crux of it, like I to one degree, I could see how possibly they could say it's demonic because specifically with one of the characters ideas I've come up with, a paladin with an eldritch patron, which you and I have talked about before, and that would just go into absolute craziness.
Right. But at the same time, I would ask them, do you believe in real life angels and demons? Then if you do, there's no problem with them being part of a game that we're
Right.
playing. I'm not saying we're going to go worship or give patronage to something like that. Like, we're not going to be like, okay, this is not my patron deity type thing. But at the same time, you can't say, well, that game has demons in it. Real life has demons in it, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you are a professing Christian and you're saying that these demons in the game are no good, but the demons in real life are good, that seems real backwards to me.
It really does. It really does. Because, like, they just. They're probably just so caught up in whatever's troubling them in their personal lives, in their public lives, at work, etc. Like, that they probably feel like it feels better for them to just harp on other people.
Mm-hmm.
And
And it, like, if you really get down to it, if you're saying that pretending anything like that is demonic, don't let your kids pretend. Don't let your kids dress up in any way. A lot of them already don't do Halloween,
mm-hmm.
and that's whatever. That's their own prerogative. But then it would probably even go as far as don't let your kids dress up as Anna and Elsa because they have magical powers, and oh my goodness, and you can't be a knight wielding a sword against a dragon because that dragon's demonic. And it just comes down to it where you're like, you are so nitpicky about these little things that are not a salvation issue in the grand scheme of things.
Right. And what's super crazy about that is that also historically those knights would have been Christian to
Right.
some
Like, we're
degree,
talking
obviously.
Templars of some, yeah.
But like a knight's it's a Christian order. Like, I think historically there was maybe one Muslim knight in England, and he was an oddity. I
I don't
think.
know. I'll have to look that up. That'd be
Yeah.
interesting to look up.
Um. But yeah, it's hard for me to understand because I have been a nerd basically my entire life.
Hmm.
Like, I grew up watching things like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Chronicles of Narnia. I grew up with it, right? So it would be hard for me to live life without it. Not to the point where like I'm putting it on the pedestal that these charismatic people are thinking we put it on.
Hmm.
But it's like it wouldn't give life the same joy that I get
Right.
out of like creating these characters for Dungeons and Dragons, creating these entire worlds for any homebrews that I want to do. Um, it's there's a special like there's always that special connection that Dungeons and Dragons players have to the worlds of their campaigns, and losing that is it'd be interesting to say the least.
We'll even think about it like this: God is a God of creativity. He
Mm-hmm.
spoke the world into existence. He came up with everything here. In reality, God is the ultimate dungeon master.
He for real.
He's like, you guys don't even know the mechanics I've put in place. Just like wait and see.
Right. Right. Great. Now you got me thinking like, okay, I'm going to roll a d20 just to see how I'm going to fashion the
We're all
shape of
sitting
the
at a
earth.
table, and God is rolling dice behind the screen. We're like, "What's that about?" He's like, "Don't worry about it. It won't be effective for like another 2,000 years." We're like, "Nah, no, no, you can't do that."
Which actually, kind of speaking of, on a quick little side note, this is probably one of my favorite sets of dice that I have. It was given to me by my. Oh, you can't see. That's the wrong camera. I believe this one was Lord of the Rings inspired, is what
Very cool.
my aunt and uncle had said. I love metal dice. It gives that like metal dice are just, in my opinion, so much better than the plastic or resin ones because the sound they make.
Oh, metal is absolutely the way to go. I will
Um,
say, when I was cleaning this week, I found this set, and they are a liquid core with an eye.
I've seen those. I want them so badly. Like that's the one like resin set that I would want to get.
Right. I think I've got three of these liquid cores right now, and one of them is the Eye of Sauron, which is just one of the coolest sets I've got.
See, I would get one of each, and I know they have their own specific names for them on their website and on their TikTok shop. Um,
Mhm,
but I would name them differently
mhm.
after the main dragons you see in the Aragon series. So
Oh,
like
that's cool.
Saphira, Thorn, Shuriken, and I forget what Arya's dragon's name was. I know it started with
I
an
haven't read
F.
those. I haven't read those books in a long time.
I'm actually listening to them on uh, Audible. Audible, please sponsor me.
Right? Oh my god. Audible, let's talk, please.
For real.
Oh,
If you ever need like a set of cast for a fully cast inheritance cycle series, give us a call.
we'll do it.
I'll take Galbatorix. No, not Galbatorix. There's so many good characters. Like on the one hand, I'd want to play Aragon, but on the other, like I want to do like the evil laugh of like Durza.
See, like I've with a lot of the voice acting I've been doing lately, I'm finding that my voice and like my temperament and stuff leans heavily into villain, and I don't know how to feel about that. Like I've done a couple hero monologues,
Mm-hmm.
but none of them hit nearly as hard as my villains, especially the ones that are a little unhinged. I'm like, what does this say about me as a person? that I very, very easily step into the slightly crazy bad guy.
Right. Honestly, I feel like that with the way that your voice goes and like the bass tones that show up in your voice, with how Galbatorix is described as speaking, you would be the absolute perfect Galbatorix.
Mm, now I want to look up some of his lines.
Yeah, like I know I know that Aragon is not actually, it's not a Christian series by any means.
No, but it's also one of the cleaner um, fantasy series out there.
Oh yeah, like all he does is that he uttered a foul oath and something like that. He doesn't say like the
Right.
actual words, which is great. Obviously, in our brains, we know exactly what words they're saying because we're adults. We've been in the world.
Right.
We know the oaths that there would be.
Oh yeah. We're sitting there going, "Oh yeah, I know exactly what he said just then."
Because I have probably said those very same words in a very similar situation. But then you have like the race specific curses like Barzul, right?
Right.
Like that. I feel like I'm gonna start using that from now on because nobody's gonna understand what I'm saying. I don't even know what the word means.
I feel really bad. I used to like instead of cussing, I would use the ones from Firefly
I
until I
haven't
found
seen
out
that show.
Firefly Serenity.
Mm-mm.
Oh my gosh. Firefly is one of those ones. It's got a cult following. There was one season and they canceled it, and no one has gotten over it ever since. It is one of the best series out there. It's Space Cowboys, is what it is.
Okay. I
But
know I've seen like Nathan Fillion. He said that he so badly wants to do a reboot.
oh, it would be amazing. But everyone speaks English except for this like mix of a couple different Asian languages. I think it's mostly Mandarin, but there's everyone curses in that language, and I think they did that in the show intentionally to make it not a rated R show. They did the PG-13 because there's some pretty heavy adult themes in it, but they curse not in English. So I was using those for a while until I found out those were actual curses, just in Mandarin.
That's
So I'm
see
sitting
that's
there,
that's
no one in
smart.
English is like
See that
people are
that
going,
could be
"What is he
kind of
saying?"
smart.
Yeah, you'd think, but like some of them are wildly creative with how vulgar they are, and I'm just like, goodness.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And as he's looking up this, guys, you're about to get a free sample of what it could sound like if Josh was Galbatorix in a full cast for specifically the Book of Inheritance, because that's mostly where we see Galbatorix actually speaking.
It is an overactive imagination that turns men into cowards, not a surfeit of fear, as most believe.
Yes! Just yes! Oh my gosh!
There's not a lot out. Like when you type in Galbatorix quotes, there's not a whole lot that pop up. Quite honestly,
Really? That's surprising because in that scene where Aragon and his troop, they've gotten into the throne room, right? And Galbatorix just goes on to this whole spiel. Like I'm pretty sure he has like at least 3 paragraphs of an entire quote.
this one's funny. It's Galbatorix glanced over his shoulder and said, "It was inconsiderate of you to attack so early in the morning. I was already awake. I rise well before dawn. But you Rogue Shuriken. He gets rather irritated when he's tired, and when he's irritated, he tends to eat people. My guards learned long ago not to disturb him when he's resting. You would have done well to follow their example." That's amazing.
Indeed. But and then
I
again,
love
it does make sense because Shuriken was like at that point he was a massive dragon, like bigger than almost as big as some of the oldest dragons there had been up until Galbatorix took power. And he the older dragons, they sleep a lot. That's basically all they do.
Right, you
Right?
have to conserve strength.
Exactly. So, like, really just any time of day, don't disturb Shuriken because he's
Right,
probably going to
let him
eat you.
sleep. What's that phrase? Let sleeping dragons lie.
Exact. Quite literally, in this instance. Like, even Saphira would get irritated with Aragon whenever he would disturb her sleep. And she wasn't that big by the end of the book.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, like, to get back to the main actual topic at hand,
Right.
like we're obviously not going to say that if you feel like that being doing Dungeons and Dragons and all these fantasy books that they are becoming an idol to you, don't obviously don't consume that type of content. We're
Right.
not going to be those type of people that be like, oh yeah, no, it doesn't matter if it's your personal conviction. You can still read it. It's not going to be a sin. No, if that's your personal
Right.
conviction, that's a sin if
It's
you
like
do it.
it's the same argument as like with drinking. People can't say that drinking wasn't in the Bible. Jesus literally made water into wine. If you struggle with drinking, absolutely don't do it. I have put into place like very, very strict measures to where if I have a drink, I have one, two at the max. I'm at home. I'm not anywhere else. And that's
Mm-hmm.
it. That is the only time I drink. If I have a drink. And I drink very, very sparingly. Like I might have one or two a month type thing. But if I knew one of my Christian brethren was coming over and they struggle with drinking, I'm not going to offer them a drink.
Mm-hmm.
That to them is very, very hard. I don't struggle with that, but if they do, I'm not going to put that into their face and go, ha ha ha, check this out. I don't struggle with making something I know is a game into an idol, but if I had a friend who did, no, I'm not going to ask him to play.
Right.
It's also just me being considerate of what other people struggle with.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, there's that scripture. I forget the reference, but it says, do not be a stumbling block to your brothers or sisters.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly.
That was drilled into me years ago, much to my chagrin at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, it's like, oh, I actually know better. I should probably not do that if it's going to make someone else fall.
I should be better about that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and I'm the same way. With drinking, one maybe two max. Um, I've been tipsy all of but one time in my life, and even then, I'm pretty sure it was more than tipsy because by the end of the night, I ended up throwing up. Uh, and I was just after one drink and not really eaten at all that day.
I will say I have been drunk once because I had never gone out drinking before, and my coworkers from my senior year of college waited till I graduated, and they said, "We're taking you out." And they were like, "Let's see what it takes to get this guy going." And it turns out, having never drunk before, I was a heavier weight than all of them.
Oh, oh, wow.
I am the only one who outlasted the entire night. I remember everything. I did throw up, but I made it home still conscious after having three mixed drinks and 16 shots.
I what?
Oh, no, you heard me. We went to a place called Shot Stop in Manhattan, Kansas, and it's just a bar that serves only shots. And they started buying me shots, and I didn't know that shots were potent. I thought they were just little sips. So I was like, ooh, cool. So they started giving me shots. And I was like, that was delicious. Let's try another one. So they would give me another one. I'd go, bam, that was delicious. Let's try another one. And they're like, let's get them the one that's called like the grass lawn. And I'm like, that one sucked. Let's get a different one to make that one taste better. So about like 12 in, the bartender's looking at me like, bro, you good? And I'm just, yeah, I'm fine. He goes, how? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just good. And I was dead serious. So just like stone cold, just Yeah, I'm fine. And about shot 14, I was like, my head feels a little funny. Hmm. And then shot 16 rolled around, and I was like, hey, the floor is not where it's supposed to be, which is typically straight down. Why is it moving on me? And then I was like, oh no, this is what drunk is. I've never been drunk before. Oh my gosh. So I went to Jimmy John's. I laid down in the back room for about 20 minutes just to like let the spinning stop. I threw up, I cleaned it up, and I had one of them give me a ride home. And I have never been drunk again because that sucked.
Yeah, yeah. I same here. So I was working at an Indian joint, and I was working a double. Had that, we were open for brunch, and then we were open for dinner. We were not open in between. Um, so after we closed for brunch, and in that in between, every once in a while, I would go. I'd have eaten because the cooks, they normally cook something for all the employees for the in between time for lunch. So normally I would eat and then go to one of the other restaurants in New Haven that had a bar, and I would buy myself a drink. You know, something harmless, something small,
Mm-hmm.
not anything like crazy. I didn't do that this one time because what they had made I had before, number one, and I wasn't a huge fan of it. So I was like, I should be fine. So I go to this joint, I buy a mojito, and I drink it. I'm going slow because I know I haven't eaten, so I know that going slow will be better. Um, I finish. I have probably like maybe an hour left until I have to go in to get ready for work again. Um, I start getting ready for work, start getting my things set up for opening, and over the course of maybe like 2, 3 hours, I start getting a headache. I'm starting to feel a little dizzy. My face feels flushed, but also pale at the same time. And I'm like, and my stomach's starting to feel weird. And I'm like, I don't like how I feel. I really don't. So I go to my boss. I'm like, hey boss, I'm not feeling too good. I need to go. I feel like I'm about to puke. And he's like, yeah, okay, go ahead, go on home. And I get in my van. I start headed to where I was staying. Um, and I start getting even more dizzy. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So I drive into the Burger King, uh, go inside, go to the bathroom, come back out, ask if I can get some water. And they're like, I can't do a cup of water, but I could charge you for a bottle of water. I can give you a bottle of water. I'm like, that'll do. Buy the bottle of water, get back in my car, drink the water, get to where I'm staying, eat some food, and after I start eating some food, out it comes.
Oh,
All over the
it's the
floor.
worst. Oh, it's the worst.
And I felt it coming up, and I tried to make it to the bathroom, and I didn't. And I've never done that again, ever. I've always had something to eat either before or while I'm drinking,
Mm-hmm.
because I am not doing that again.
Right. I will not. Mm-mm. It's
Mm-mm.
horrible. I don't understand why people think that's fun to do on. Oh, let's go every Friday night and just get blasted. I'm like, what for?
What's the point? Are you trying to forget something? If you're trying to forget something, just
Because if you are, like, I've got a
go to
hammer that'll
therapy.
do it for cheaper,
Yeah, exactly. Or go to therapy.
right?
Like,
You'll spend about the same amount of money and you'll feel better about it.
exactly. Or you could just pour all of your same traumas into a character on Dungeons and Dragons to make you kind
I
of sort
really
of feel
thought
better about yourself.
I really thought you were about to say pour it all into a kid, and I was like, what?
No,
No,
no, no, no, no, no, no.
no.
No. Generational trauma is not happening in this house. Absolutely
We just
not.
take all of the trauma and we give it to the kid. And then the kid's like, what did you do? Shut up, it'll make you stronger. You're fine.
No, No, we are not about that. Absolutely not. Um, but yeah, like Dungeons and Dragons has helped, and fantasy in general. It's helped so many people. It really has. God, like it's been said, God can use anything for His glory.
Mm-hmm.
Really can. I used to be part of this campaign that was a Christian campaign. Like everything within the world was built around actual historical Christian events and actual historical Christian people. I am no longer a part of that campaign. I was removed a while ago. Um, no hard feelings between anyone. Still
Mm-hmm.
friends with everyone involved. Um, but it was a fun campaign. It was the first time that I ever built a character that was an assassin from Assassin's Creed, using that homebrew build that I found online. Great build, by the way. I might tag it in the description below for anyone who wants to use it. I definitely recommend that y'all do. Um, but yeah, like it's not only helped people get new friends, Christian or otherwise, but it's given them like an outlet to be able to be themselves. Like even with honestly, even with like Harry Potter and stuff like that, like yes, again, Harry Potter, not a Christian series by any stretch of the imagination. But it's a great series. Very, very well written. It's one of the best written series of the 21st century, in my personal opinion. But
I think people just need to be able to understand that there is a line between what is real and what is not. Like it says in the Bible, have nothing to do with witchcraft.
mm-hmm.
D&D is not witchcraft. As someone who has dealt with witchcraft, real witchcraft is a terrifying thing. It is not something you want to play with. It is not something you just like dabble in. It's real and it's scary. And I think if you understand there's a difference between this little game you're playing and what could really truly be potentially harmful to you, I think that's all right.
Right,
Now,
like
if it's going to be a stumbling block for you, don't do it.
absolutely. But yeah, to your point, in Ridge Witchcraft, you're not rolling a dice to see whether or not your spell hits someone.
Right.
Like it involves actual human blood and a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of other stuff that I don't want to get into because children might watch this podcast. And,
Right. No,
it's just
yeah. There was a girl in my high school that reached out to me on Facebook. She was a freshman and I was a senior. So like the second she reached out to me, I was just like, what's going on here? And she said, hey, are you a Christian? And I said, well, yeah. She goes, can I talk to you about God? And I was like, sure, what's up? And so we would talk about God. And it never went any other direction until she started telling me that she would like to go to the cemetery at night. And I was like, well, what are you doing in the cemetery at night after dark? She goes, well, I'm taking pictures of the spirits and talking with them. And I was like, at first I thought this is a child that is looking for some kind of like, oh, look at me, look how interesting I am, look at me, give me attention because I do cool things. But the more she talked about it, the more I was like, this sounds not okay. And a little bit of probing, and a couple weeks later, she goes, hey, we can't talk about God anymore. And I was like, oh, okay. Did I say something to offend you? And she goes, no, not me. The spirits are mad at me for even talking to you. And immediately I was like, red flag, what is going on? And I said, why are they mad that you're talking to me? And she said, well, it's because you're a Christian. They don't like that. And immediately I was like, this is really bad. I thought this girl was just messing around, but she's not. And it got worse from there to the point where we didn't speak for years because she said that the spirits caused her pain if she even tried to contact me.
um phasmophobia. Anyone? Um
It was crazy. Like the worst part was we were texting one night and she said, hey, I'm going to the cemetery. And I was like, hey, be careful. Like, I've told you that I don't feel this is a good idea. I think you should not do this. But if you're going to, be careful. And then I get this, they're hurting me. And I was like, what? And she goes, the spirits are hurting me because I've been talking to you. And so I called her. She didn't answer. I called her again. She didn't answer. I didn't hear from her for 3 days. And after that, we never, like, I think that was basically when we stopped talking for 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
And I have not, I've looked her up. I can't find her anymore. I don't know if she got married and changed her name or blocked me or whatever, but I don't know. I've never been able to see her again. But it was just like, holy cow, this is scary stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, don't go messing with things that shouldn't be messed with, guys.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely go start playing Dungeons and Dragons, because that is fun as all get out. If you are creative in any way, shape, or form, not only does it allow you to create your own character, but if you so choose, you can act it out to the best of your ability. Create your own costume for your character. Like Critical Role, they are like... Critical Role has just built like this entire fan base to where now they're getting animated shows on Amazon for their campaigns. And most of them are voice acting their own characters because they are voice actors themselves, accomplished voice actors. Most of them have been in almost every major anime that has come out in the last 10 years.
Which is just nutty.
Oh, it really is, and I only wish that I could be something like that.
Well, I'm working towards it. I'm gonna get there.
Well, we are all here in support for you. That is for daggum sure. And hey, I was really happy to hear that you got your YouTube back. Congratulations on that.
Oh my gosh, it wasn't even just the YouTube. It was that email account specifically. I've had since I was, oh my gosh, like 19. And I turned 35 this year. So
if that doesn't make you feel old.
Like, I've had that account for over 15 years at this point. It's got a lot of stuff in it. Not only that, it has all the legal stuff that we're dealing with right now. Mm-hmm. It has all the correspondence between me and our lawyers. So I'm just like,
yikes.
Crazy thing is, when they broke into it and stole it, you can see which emails have been opened. They didn't open any emails other than the ones to do with YouTube. Like, not a single one.
They couldn't do you that favor of reading all your emails for you?
Right? Like, at least mark the ones that are important for me. Come on.
Like, at least be a nice hacker. Come on.
Right. Clean out my spam folder while you're at it.
Exactly. But yeah. Are there any, like, I feel like this was probably one of the shortest episodes where I'm ever going to do. Is there any other, like, bits and pieces for, like, advice that you would give to my viewers?
I think creativity is not something to be shunned. I think if you're being creative, that God is a creative God. He has given us that longing to do things, whether that's create music or painting or writing or whatever. I think God has put that in each one of us to do something. Like, there's not a single person I know that doesn't like to do something. Like, I know a couple guys that are like, well, I like to watch TV. I'm like, I guarantee there's something that if you had time to do it and money to do it, you would be doing it other than watching TV. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I like train sets. All right, so why aren't you doing train sets? And well, whatever. I think that you need to delve further into your creativity, and that is a beautiful thing. Don't shy away from that. Also understand, if you make something an idol, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's a fantasy game, if it's your work, if it's your relationship with your boyfriend and girlfriend, that's bad. Don't make things idols, and you should be okay.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
about what I got.
And I definitely appreciate it. Thank you so much for being part of today's program. And again, ladies and gentlemen, this program is sponsored in part by Freshen Up Energy. Use code ASSASSIN1138 at freshenUphydration.com to get 10% off your entire order. Until next time, I bid you all adieu.